Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami were raided by Homeland Security, and everything we're hearing is this is in connection with the human trafficking, the sex trafficking allegations that have been made against him in the various civil cases.
And clearly now the feds are investigating this. As you can see, the dramatic footage outside his home here in LA, where they had several people out in the front yard for questioning.
Now
and then actually there were people who were cuffed eventually, including two of Diddy's sons. Now, we don't know at this stage if they have been booked for anything, but they were in handcuffs.
And I want to say this quickly because they were in handcuffs, but a lot of times they do that to get them out of the house because they don't know their status. It doesn't mean they're suspects or arrested. It could be, but it doesn't mean that. And so this is a typical thing that happens. But this is a federal investigation in 2 states. And, you know, we talked about the various civil allegations. This is a whole new level.
This would be, obviously, they're looking into criminal, the feds are looking into a criminal charge here, but nothing has been announced yet. And we also don't know where Diddy is at this point.
Yeah, that's right. So he usually lives primarily in Miami. That's usually where he's at anyway. He flies around, obviously, but Miami seems to be his home base. No visual, no word, no official report or anything of him being under arrest or detained or anything. But in any case, it's obviously D-Day, no pun intended. Look, can I be honest with you? I had a suspicion this would happen at some point because of the mounting lawsuits. Despite all the denials from Diddy, they kept mounting and they kept mounting, and the same thing kept being brought up. Alleged human/sex trafficking. And at a certain point, the federal government is not going to turn a blind eye to that, right? And I mean, look,
they at least say we should look into this.
Well, by the way, this is more than we should look into this. They had to get a search warrant, which means that they had to convince a judge that there was probable cause to believe that there was indeed sex trafficking, human trafficking. So this is not just a probe. This is presenting evidence to a federal judge saying, we have probable cause to believe Diddy is involved in human trafficking. And as a result, warrants got issued in both Los Angeles and Miami. So that's how serious this is right now. By the way, we have been blowing up the phones of his various lawyers, and they are indisposed right now. They are not talking. We've also been...
Imagine they're in a war room somewhere.
The other thing I was going to mention real quick, and I'm sure this came to somebody's mind, but this very much reminds me of the R. Kelly saga. I mean, for a long time, R. Kelly was, you know, just living his life, doing his thing, and all of a sudden, one day, law enforcement gets involved, he gets arrested, and the rest is history. I'm not saying the same is going to happen here from Diddy, obviously, but this is sort of the start of usually how that stuff like that goes.
It is the same playbook. You notice there are a lot of public allegations made either in a documentary, in the case of R. Kelly, in the case of Diddy, in several lawsuits, and it gets the feds, their antenna go up, and then the investigation starts.
What is really interesting, fascinating about all of this is it started with Cassie. And, you know, that's his ex, and this whole thing probably would have never come out from under the rug because he could have settled it. And he wouldn't settle it, and I guess he called her bluff. But then she files this lawsuit making all these horrific allegations. The next day, he settles with her. But because it all became public, other women then came forward, in particular, a Jane Doe.
In December, who alleged that she was 17 when Diddy and his associates sexually assaulted her. And she also alleged human and sex trafficking in that lawsuit. So, and we've seen it pop up in another more recent lawsuit filed here in LA. So,
this is unconfirmed, but we have reason to believe that the feds have spoken to at least one of these women before getting this search warrant. And as a matter of fact, it really makes complete sense. In order to show probable cause, you have to show that there's something untoward that happened, and it would be probably a declaration from one of those women. And we have reason to believe at least one of them, and it's a Jane Doe, was either in touch directly with Homeland Security or with via her lawyer.
And to Harvey's point from earlier, when Cassie opened the floodgates, because she was the first one to do that, such a high-profile person in a high-profile relationship with Diddy, obviously that opened the doors, and I'm sure he's regretting playing chicken with her because he clearly lost, and now he's sort of paying for it, I think.
Hey, I'm Trey from Atlanta, Georgia. All this is just so unfortunate. Ever since that Cassie lawsuit, his life has literally been in shambles. Like, we're literally seeing the downfall of Diddy right in front of our eyes. The most unfortunate part is I hated seeing the two kids in handcuffs. They probably had no idea what was going on, what was going on. Like, at the end of the day, like, salute and thoughts and prayers to everyone involved. Hopefully something. And where is Diddy at? Where does he go? He had to be tipped off. Where is he at?
We don't know at this moment where Diddy is. There's a chance we've heard he
That
might
he's
be
in
on
Miami.
a jet.
Yeah.
And we heard Miami.
He was
we
in
heard
Miami and that he was about to get on a jet and then didn't get on.
going to New York.
Right.
And by the way, it looks like the Southern District of New York is handling this, which
running
is
the
interesting because it's not New York where they're searching right now.